behaved savagely. And the tide was coming in, can you remember? And it rained, it just rained and rained and rained. Such a great story though, that's actually one of my favourite.
I loved actually my very first rap on my very first day of executing Doctor Who, and he said we'd been taken unawares or unexpectedly by the tide. And you're thinking, isn't that written down somewhere? Haven't you got a record of when the tide comes? And we ran off the beach and I cut 4 pages of dialogue, and so it began.
Now, I think that sometimes the filming was disrupted. I don't know if it was this episode, but the filming was disrupted by the weather on several occasions. Is rain an enemy of the Doctor?
In Wales it is.
Yeah. Rain, snow, all these things.
Yeah, Marcus, you're the man who has to deal with all this on a day-to-day business.
Stephen sets us the regular challenge of finding places we can turn into snowy wastelands in July. The snow always comes when we don't want. I think we've only been sent home one day with the weather. We've battled through most of it. Some of the weather can be quite extreme.
We got snowed in, didn't we?
Yeah, on the gangers episode, yeah.
It was like, it was so cold. So cold.
I remember you came in when we were in the edit and you said, and you looked slightly perturbed. So Piers and I said, well, something happened, said the roof's fallen in. And we thought you meant metaphorically. So what's happened? No, the roof, it fell in on the actors.
Jenna, when you joined the show, were you warned about all this kind of thing? Cold weather, you know.
We don't mention these things.
No. I just always remember Matt's face with the kind of like a knowing like. But no, you kind of just, I came in mid-series and we were up and running and kind of straight into it.
And we filmed through the summer in your first season.
Yeah, we did.
You're starting in January this year.
In fact, we filmed Hyder in... and we had to, all the windows were blacked out and we were going into this haunted house. Outside is absolutely beautiful, so I always remember that first week we kind of spent in glorious sunshine.
Well, let's see Clara now, not necessarily in her natural habitat, but on screen, in action, in The Name of the Doctor. How impossible did Clara seem to you? What discussions did you have about her impossibility?
I had absolutely no idea. I knew all I was doing was playing the individual Claras, and the Clara that kind of had just each Clara had met doctors, and all I had to play was modern day contemporary Clara meeting the Doctor and going on that adventure. And he'd make comments, and I think she'd just sometimes think he was a bit strange and not really know what he was talking about, but thought he was quite strange anyway. But when I got that script through, with the beginning sequence of Clara meeting through all the Doctors going through space and time, I remember I read the first section up to the titles, put it down, I phoned up my mum and I was like, oh my god, it's so cool, this is absolutely amazing sequence. And to film the scenes that we filmed, and Stephen came to set that day, where we recreated Hartnell's and coming up and filming with the double, and then that was kind of a really special day.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that you can revive sort of television history in such a way, and actually give it a real context now. I think that's...
It means you're never really going to leave, doesn't it?
Well, I hope so. Wheel me back out in 50 years.
So, Stephen, when unfolding a character like this, is it that, as Jenna says, you just see it in the script, or do you forewarn your actors of twists and turns to come?
I kind of think the actors should experience the story through the script, and indeed the producer should, the director should. I shouldn't tell them in advance what they're going to see. They should. I should check that I remember to put it all in there, and the only way to do that is to say you learn it through the script. And I kind of think also the people who are going to be creatively involved in making it, the director, the producer, the cast, the designer, all these people should have one moment where they read it and not know what's coming, so that they can be in the audience for a moment and know what we're aiming for. The very first director I ever got on with really well, Bob Spears, who used to do Press Gang many years ago, always said to me, don't tell me anything about a script, because the first time I read the script is the only time I really understand it. So he'd need to read it absolutely fresh, and then he'd know what he was trying to make. He'd be trying to make the audience experience what he just experienced, hopefully better.
And this is what you have to do, Marcus. You also have to decide how these things are going to be realised as well.
Yeah. There's what Stephen wants, and there's what we can give. We just try and close that gap as much as possible.
But Marcus, you've actually always managed everything. Come on, there's hardly anything you haven't.
Well, we've got a fantastic crew who love working on the show and want to do everything they can for it. But I agree with Stephen. I think it's fantastic to read this, because I can't watch New Doctor Who episodes anymore. So reading the script is my first chance, my last chance to experience them anew again. So I completely agree with what Stephen's saying.
Okay, well let's take a look now at something that will be new, at least to most of us in this room, certainly to me. It's the trailer for...
That and Springing Paul McGann and everybody in the prequel are probably the things that some of my most fun moments. And I really love the final moments of The Name of the Doctor. It was a difficult episode to do, just as not in the name of the Doctor. And there he is. And it's John Hurt. What a birthday present for the Doctor. He gets to be John Hurt.
Are the rules a bit different when you're writing an anniversary episode? Because all the pieces that have to be put onto the board?
I think the thing you have to keep in mind is that the rules can't be different. It's not a party. It's not just look how clever we are. There is a trap in saying this episode will now celebrate Doctor Who. That's Doctor Who celebrating itself. That's a bit of an ego trip. Having said that, a show with 3 iterations of the same man would be best titled An Ego Trip. How should I call it that? Damn, that's good. So you actually have to stick to the fact you have to make a good story. That's really what you're doing. You're trying to make a really good story, and you're trying to push the boat out a bit more. And what that really means is that I give Marcus a much worse time than normal, because really this particular episode funded that much better than any other one, or scheduled any better. And it was tough. And what these guys have managed to wring out of it is extraordinary. Everyone's going to think it's a multi-million-pound blockbuster. It's because this guy's clever. Because this man's clever.
Jenna, was the meeting between companions as momentous as the meeting between doctors? Billy Piper, of course, returns in this episode.
I have been told not to say anything regarding Billy, so that is all going to be a big surprise for you all tomorrow night.
Okay. Well, we all know, we've all seen you together with your previous incarnations. What was the chemistry like between you?
Right, good actually. It's sort of quite interesting. I think our doctors get on well. Wait and see tomorrow night. But I think it's just exciting for the show to have that character confront himself. And ridiculous. There's a ridiculousness in it which will never grow old. There's a version in which you could sort of make the show with another Doctor all the time. I felt that with Peter, having him come in. I was a bit like, I sort of wish I got to do a little acting with you. Yeah. But instead, you're taking my face and making me old.
Is it inevitable you feel like that?
No, it doesn't. I think the show is about to embark on a really interesting time. I think, in Peter you have an actor that's going to throw a heap of new invention onto the part, and I think with the momentum of the 50th anniversary and everything, this show's just going to snowball and continue to sort of be enormous and juggernaut.
Okay, well, we're going to go out to this enormous audience. Now, if you have a question for any of the guys, oh yes, then stick your hands up. Trained BBC staff in blue tops will come and pick some of you, and then you can be in front of the microphone and speak to the guys here in just a moment. So keep your hands up, have those conversations. Well, we maybe look forward a little to the Christmas special, which, Marcus, I think is sort of is going to be your farewell.
So many people, when I started, were like, this guy can't be the Doctor, he's 26 years old. And what you have in Peter Capaldi is an actor of the highest order, a man of he's got great grace. And I think to anyone who has any doubts, go and watch half of The Thick of It, and you'll go, he's perfect. I mean, he's brilliant, and will be brilliant. And that is what the show should do. It should challenge what the idea is. I was a challenge. I wasn't an easy sell. And the fact that, you know, that now people would think, oh, well, it should be a young man's show or whatever. No, what's brave is that they've gone, boom, let's go polar opposite and be courageous with it. And have no fear, he will smash the something polite out of it.